want to continue to examine the fallout from yesterday's announcement that the prosecutor for the International Criminal Court is seeking an arrest warrant against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, in addition to 3 Hamas terrorists. But this marks the first time that the ICC has pursued such a tactic against a Western democracy. So what is the legal framework that allows these unelected bureaucrats to target democratically elected officials? And is the ICC more beholden to international power politics than they are the rule of law? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Eugene Kontorovich. He is the director of the Center for Middle East and International Law at George Mason University's Scalia Law School. Professor, welcome to Washington Watch. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on, Jay.
All right, let's begin from a legal perspective. Okay, explain to me what the International Criminal Court is and what kind of legal powers that it possesses.
So the International Criminal Court is not like a world court that hears cases and does justice for significant crimes around the world. It's an international organization that was created by a treaty a bit over 20 years ago, and it only has power over countries that have agreed to join it. Now, most countries that are likely to participate in wars or hostilities have not joined the ICC. The United States has not joined the ICC. China has not joined the ICC. Most of the world's population live in countries that have not joined the ICC. Israel, like America, did not join the ICC because they were afraid of bias. So the ICC should have no authority over Israel whatsoever. But because they only have authority over countries that accept their jurisdiction. But the ICC invented a country called Palestine. It said there's a country called Palestine, which is not a member of the United Nations, is not recognized by the United States, and they let that fake country join the ICC. And then they also said that that country has all the territory that it claims. So now it's claiming that it's investigating Israeli crimes in the state of Palestine, namely Gaza. Of course, Israelis didn't vote for these judges. Israel has no authority over them. And the court has shown its systematic bias against the Jewish state in pretty much every action it has taken.
It's amazing. So where is this going? I mean, what? The United States is not a member. Israel's not a member. They make up this Palestinian state. What authority do they have? And is there any degree of accountability against the ICC?
So the court, can't really do anything directly against Israel. It's certainly not going to prosecute any Hamas leaders because they're not going to give themselves up. The real point of these charges is to be a kind of banner in a further diplomatic campaign to delegitimize Israel and to pressure and deter Israel from defending itself against the Hamas genocide. So now you're going to hear when people talk about want to delegitimize Israel, they'll say, whose leaders were indicted of war crimes. And this has always been the case of blood libels against the Jews. It's not just about the particular individuals accused. It is more like a rallying. It's more like a rallying cry for, sorry about that. It's more like a rallying cry for the delegitimization of Israel. And I should say this could not have happened without the green light from the Biden administration, because President Trump had imposed sanctions on the ICC. They said, we will sanction you if you go after American officials, which they had been trying to do. We will sanction you if you go after Israeli officials. And the bureaucrats at the ICC are not brave people. They want to tell every other country how to fight their wars, but they don't want to expose themselves to any risk. So they dropped their investigation of American officials when Trump put sanctions on them. President Biden lifted those sanctions. So now Congress is going to make a push to sanction ICC officials that are trying to undermine Israel's defense, and that is definitely something everybody should support.
Yep. What a tangled mess we've got here. We would not be in this mess, quite frankly, had the Biden administration not reverse those previous policies. So let me just get this straight from what you said a moment ago. The ICC, Prosecutor Karim Khan, this, in your opinion, is a politically driven motivation, not really a case of any kind of legal authority, but it is a politically driven situation. Is that an accurate assessment?
Absolutely. The court has no authority, and the crimes that it is alleging are preposterous. They're saying that Israel has starved Gazans to death. Of course, it's not clear that anyone has starved in Gaza. And to the extent there's a problem with food supplies there, it is well known that Hamas steals and plunders all the civilian, all the humanitarian supplies that are coming in. So it's not clear why it's Israel rather than Hamas that is being accused of this. It's clear that Egypt has been cutting supplies. So it's made up, quite frankly. But again, the point is not proving it in court, because this is almost certainly never going to get to court. It's about blackening Israel's name in the court of public opinion.
Let me hit this last question for you. We've only got about a minute or so left, but you're in Israel now. So what is the reaction you're hearing from Israelis regarding the ICC?
Israelis of all political stripes across the board reject this as a biased prosecution that is basically designed to tie Israel's hands in a war of self-defense. Hamas does not mind being indicted by the ICC because they know that the only way they would ever get to The Hague is if they lose the war, in which case they'd much rather fall into the hands of The Hague than Israel. So all this can do is deter a democracy fighting a brutal Islamic terrorist state. And unprecedented, this has been rejected completely by Israelis. And Israelis know they have two choices. You know, we have two threats, Hamas and the ICC, and Hamas is a lot scarier. So Israel is not going to give up or relent in its fight against Hamas at all, because the ICC may cause diplomatic problems, but Hamas is out to kill every last Jewish person here.
Thank you so much, Professor Eugene Kontorovich from George Mason University. Very grateful for you joining us on the program.